Hello everybody, I am Karryshh, and do you know Japanese horror culture is built around one core thing? It is curses. In almost every story there has a curse that's somehow tied to a spirit. Now these cursed tales go back centuries, from a time when people in Japan believed that if something bad was happening in their lives, it must be because of Noroi, which literally means curse. Since then, Japan has had hundreds of evil curse stories passed down through generations, and today, our creepy Japanese horror movie, Honto Niata Kowai Hanashi, tells us 7 of those terrifying stories. This movie is a part of a long-running film series, so if you want me to cover more from it, drop a comment below. If you're new here, don't forget to like the video, subscribe the channel, and follow me on Instagram, cause Demonic Archives bring you the best horror recaps. Now, without wasting any time, let's dive straight into one of the scariest stories from Honto Niata Kowai Hanashi. The movie begins by saying that these stories are actually based on true events that happened to real people in Japan. Only the names and places have been changed. The first story is pretty short and it's called Yomi Mori Forest. So there's a forest in Japan where people go to take their own lives, and this story happened right there. We meet Misako and her boyfriend Hiramura, who go there just for fun to explore, but soon that fun turns into terror when they realize someone or something is following him. That something turns out to be a transparent, horrifying spirit that completely freaks them out. They run for their lives, but Misako falls and the ghost gets dangerously close. Somehow, Hiramura manages to drag her back to the car, but outside the window, doesn't an evil spirit suddenly appear? The forest was actually filled with them, and the story ends right there, but apparently both of them survived. Otherwise, who would have told this story, right? Now, the second story takes us to a place called Hokkaido, and it's titled A Person on the Road. It's about Miko and her best friend Hikari. Miko had just gotten her driver's license, so she decided to go for a drive with Hikari. It was late, around 2 a.m., when suddenly a woman on a bicycle appeared in front of him. I mean, come on, who rides a bicycle at 2 in the morning? If I was there, I'd be gone in seconds. But anyway, the woman waves for him to stop, so Miko pulls over, thinking she needs help. But as soon as the woman walks up to the car, she transforms into a little boy, which shocks Miko completely. The boy says he needs to get to the station because his father just had a car accident. He was even ready to leave his bike behind, which was weird, but Miko and Hikari still decide to let him inside the car and drive with him. Now you're probably thinking, why would they do that? First a woman, then a boy, and they still let him inside? Well, there's actually a theory behind that. You see, when people experience something paranormal, the brain doesn't function normally. It gets confused and slips into survival, detection, or even hallucination mode. Basically, the brain can't even process what's happening, so people do irrational things like following ghosts or letting him into their cars, just like Miko. Anyway, once the boy gets inside, he starts saying creepy stuff, like how he wants to go to Miko's house instead of the station, and he even says that he will visit his father later, even though his father was supposedly hurt and waiting there. This weirdness freaks both girls out, and they stop the car near the station, quickly drop the boy there, and they drove away. Later, Miko finds out that many people have reported seeing a woman and a boy on that same road late at night. They both are believed to have died in a car accident years ago, and that's where the story ends. The third story is called The Girl on the Right Shoulder. Now, it's about a guy named Takeshi who was struggling cause he couldn't find a job. We also meet his friend Shota, and through their conversation, we learn that Takeshi has a girlfriend named Mami. They've been together for 2 years, but lately, every time Takeshi is with her, he feels physically drained and tired. He's been wanting to break up with her, but hasn't had the chance yet. One evening, Takeshi meets Mami and is just about to tell her that it's over when she suddenly freezes and starts staring over his right shoulder. You see, Mami was seeing something strange and she tells Takeshi that there's a woman standing right behind him wearing a red and blue dress. To make the scene creepier, the director even shows a random girl sitting behind Takeshi, which at first looks like a ghost, but then she just walks off talking on her phone, which was kinda cool. Anyway, Takeshi doesn't believe Mami, but she drags him out of the cafe and back to his place. Even there, Mami says she can still see that same woman behind him. That's why she fills his whole house with protection charms and tells him that the spirit won't bother him anymore. In the middle of all that, Takeshi completely forgets that he was supposed to break up with her. Now you see, we learn that Takeshi was bothered by a pain in his right shoulder for a few days, but now after the protection charms are placed around his house, the pain is completely gone. Anyway, he tries to ignore Mami for some time, but one morning she calls him, saying that she saw that same spirit again in her dream. It's the same one that's been haunting Takeshi. Not only that, but she claims that she found proof of it. She asks him to meet her that evening and Takeshi goes, thinking he will finally break up with her. When they meet, Mami shows him her private social media blog, and it's something that only her friends can access, but somehow an unknown account had liked one of her posts, which shouldn't even be possible because the account was private. When they open the account, there's a creepy photo of a woman wearing the same red and blue dress. Seeing that, Takeshi freaks out and Mami suggests that they should stay together for a while so the spirit won't harm him. But honestly, her behavior feels obsessive, like she's using the situation as an excuse to stay with him. Obviously, Takeshi doesn't want that, but before he can say anything, Mami suddenly sees the ghost again, which ruins their date completely. After that day, Takeshi starts feeling constantly uneasy, and one day, while walking down the road, everyone around him suddenly disappears, and that same ghost appears right behind him. This was the first time he was seeing this woman. And when the woman rushed toward him, Takeshi ran to save his life, but suddenly he wakes up, realizing it was just a dream. However, even after waking up, he couldn't move, because that spirit was sitting right on his shoulders. Then he wakes up again, realizing it was just another nightmare, and this time he finds himself in his college class, but something feels off. There was a noise behind a window he was sitting nearby, cause the spirit was right there, and then suddenly the window shatters and glass cuts Takeshi's hand. Now, after all this evil happenings, Takeshi finally meets with a medium named Miharu. She's experienced enough to understand exactly what's going on. She tells him that the spirit attached to him isn't a ghost, it's a living spirit. Now, I have talked about living spirits before, but in short, they're not actually ghosts. They're strong emotions given form. When a person feels something intensely, anger, fear, obsession, that emotion can take on a life of its own. It becomes a curse. In Takeshi's case, the truth is that Mami already knew he wanted to break up with her. That's why she had been acting so obsessive. Then one day when Takeshi was about to end things, Mami got so scared of losing him that the fear literally gave birth to that spirit, a living spirit born from her emotions. That means the ghost haunting Takeshi was actually a manifestation of Mami's feelings. Miharu tells him the only way to get rid of it is to break up with Mami once and for all. So Takeshi goes to see her and explains everything, but Mami just laughs it off. She doesn't want to end things. Takeshi tries to make her understand that every time the spirit shows up, Mami is always nearby. Even during that class when the window shattered, she was there as well. Now this proves Mami already knew everything all along, but she pretended to be clueless so that she can use the situation in her favor. In the end, no matter what she says, Takeshi finally stands his ground. He breaks up with her and walks away, and from that day on, the spirit never appeared again. Sometime later, Mami texts Takeshi. She says that he was right, the spirit was actually connected to her. She had found an old dress among her things. It was the same red and blue dress that the spirit was wearing. The fourth story takes us to a place in Yamanashi Prefecture, and it's called The Face on the Road. It's about a guy named Takagi who was heading out fishing with his girlfriend Miyoko. On their way, as they pass a phone booth, Takagi notices a woman standing inside it, but the next second, she's gone. He's startled, while Miyoko, who hadn't slept the night before, decides to pull over and take a nap despite Takagi telling her not to. While she's asleep, strange things start happening. Miyoko suddenly wakes up and tells Takagi she saw a woman in a dream. Then she goes back to sleep. Takagi suddenly got confused and he starts cleaning his fishing rod for no reason. Both of them clearly unsettled by whatever was going on. They were confused because something paranormal was happening. His phone has no signal, so he walks over to the same phone booth to call a friend. But even after inserting coins, the phone doesn't work. As he steps out, he spots that same woman again, this time inside a house nearby. Takagi goes to check out that house, but the house turns out to be completely abandoned. Still, he was hearing footsteps coming from upstairs. Now, as he was about to climb the stairs, something horrifying happens. A ghostly woman in white comes crawling down, making these awful groaning sounds like this. The most terrifying part though is when Takagi realizes she was unnaturally tall and her head was missing. He ran out of the house in panic and rushed back to the car, but then it was already night. Even though what happened inside felt like just a few seconds, somehow hours had passed outside. Takagi wakes Miyoko, who tells him she was having a nightmare about that same woman. But just as she starts the car, they see it, the woman's severed head lying right outside. Terrified, they drove home immediately, and when they finally get out of the car, they notice evil handprints all over it, meaning that spirit tried to follow them home, but luckily, they never opened the door for her, and that's where this chilling story ends. Now, the fifth story is called The Price of Resentment. It's about a woman named Naomi who works at a departmental store. She's really good at her job, but one of her co-workers, Asami, constantly steals customers from others, which makes everyone dislike her. One day when everyone's reviewing their sales numbers, Naomi performs really well, while Asami, despite she was stealing clients, still doesn't do great. Another co-worker makes fun of Asami for it, but Asami overhears everything. Naomi feels bad for her, and she then invites her out to dinner with everyone after work, but Asami just runs off without saying a word. A few days later, Naomi finds out that one of her co-workers was about to shred an important folder of documents, which was the same one Naomi needed that day. Now, Naomi was able to stop her, but the girl says that Asami told her to destroy them, telling her that they were useless. That's when Naomi realizes that Asami might actually be holding a grudge against her. Things starts to get worse. Asami writes mean notes in Naomi's locker and even throws her shoes in trash. One day when Naomi confronts her, Asami just gives her a creepy smile and walks away. Then, a few days later, Asami brings gift for everyone, saying that she brought him abroad. She gives Naomi a fancy, expensive-looking purse, the nicest of all. Now, obviously, Naomi doesn't want to accept that, but she feels awkward saying no in front of everyone. Then later at home, she decides that she will return it next day, so she doesn't throw it away. But honestly, if I were her, I wouldn't have taken that thing home at all. Clearly, Asami's jealousy was turning dark here. Now that night, Naomi wakes up suddenly and she sees a ghostly figure staring directly at that purse. Now I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to guess what that spirit is. If you guess that the spirit was a living spirit, you're right. Asami's jealousy had manifested into a living spirit and it was attached to that purse. The ghost then looks at Naomi and it whispers one word over and over again. Shine. 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 Which in Japanese means go to hell. After that night, Naomi couldn't sleep properly. Her health started falling, her work performance dropped, and everyone noticed something was off. Her friend Mia tells her to take a break and go home, and later Mia visits her that night, and she discovers that expensive purse. Mia was excited, so she borrows that purse for one day, but when she returns the next morning, she looks terrified. She actually found a hidden piece of paper inside the purse, and on that, something strange was written in blood. Naomi finally realizes that Asami cursed her out of jealousy. That's why, to break the curse, Naomi gets herself blessed and throws the purse away. After this, almost immediately, she starts recovering. Her health improves and she's back to being happy at work. Meanwhile, Asami suddenly quits her job. Naomi later learns that Asami has become seriously ill. Then, a few months later, Naomi sees her again on the road. Asami looks awful. She was completely drained. Basically, the curse Asami had cast on Naomi had backfired, and that's why they say you should never wish harm upon someone else. Now, the sixth story is called The Woman from Escopper Mine. It's about a girl named Kayako who had just been transferred from Tokyo to a small village. She worked as a life insurance agent, and her new partner was a guy named Haru. Kayako had been feeling uneasy for a while since it was hard for her to adjust to her new place. One day while driving with Haru, they accidentally took a wrong turn and ended up near a place called Escopper Mine, which was a spot in the village believed to be haunted. Kayako wanted some fresh air, so she got out of the car and walked near the entrance of a cave. There she finds strange witchcraft symbols hanging on the gate. Then suddenly she felt like someone in the dark was staring right at her, and this terrifies her so much that she ran back to the car with Haru and they rushed home. The next day their boss yelled at everyone cause sales weren't meeting the target, but he was especially harsh on Kayako since her performance was the worst. But then when she looked at his reflection, she suddenly noticed something terrifying. A creepy mask reflecting over his face, the same one she had seen hanging at the cave entrance. Later that day, she saw her boss cleaning his car weirdly, and Haru wasn't talking to her much either. Then a few days later, the boss got hospitalized, and when Kayako went to visit him, Haru stopped her. He looked genuinely scared, and not long after, Haru also stopped showing up to work. It became clear that maybe both Haru and Kayako had brought something cursed back from that mine. Kayako then visited Haru's home, and as soon as he opened the door, he collapsed. Then when he came to his senses, he told her the actual truth. He took out that same evil mask and explained that he and their boss had gone to the copper mine earlier. The boss wanted to explore and he had gone deeper inside the cave, and he brought this mask back with him, which means everything happening was actually his fault. The boss was cursed first, and that's why Kayako saw that mask over his face. Then he was hospitalized, and now the curse is started to make Haru sick as well. Now here Kayako feels kinda guilty cause she was the one who stepped out of the car that day, which might have influenced the boss's interest in that place later on. That's why Kayako decided to return the mask and end it once and for all. She and Haru went back to the mine, but on the way, Haru's condition worsened. Kayako now takes the mask, tells Haru to hold up, and she goes alone inside that cave. Deep into the darkness, she found an altar filled with masks, except one mask was missing, the one she had. She then quietly placed the mask back on its position and she started to run, but that's when she saw a woman in the darkness staring at her. The woman then walks toward her, and this scares Kayako so much that she ran out of the cave to save her life. But then she found Haru, but he looks kinda possessed. She somehow managed to snap him out of the possession, but the evil woman followed them outside. When the woman was dangerously close, they somehow managed to drive away just in time. After driving a while, they thought that they had left the danger behind, but suddenly they saw that evil woman clinging to the back of the car. Terrified, they drove again, and once home, they get out of the car and they notice a huge dark stain on the back side, which was obviously the last thing they wanted to see. However, the curse finally seemed to be over. Everything went back to the normal once again. But one day, when she and Haru went to visit their boss at the hospital, Kayako froze. Because you see, instead of the boss, she saw that same evil woman sitting there. It seems like the woman wasn't done yet, but that was the boss's problem now, and that's where Kayako's story ends. Now the final and seventh story is called A Room with a Reason. It's about a girl named Mai who worked at a restaurant. The company one day sent her to help out at another branch for a while and gave her a house to stay in. The landlady showed her around, but Mai noticed a strange mark on the wall as if someone peeled off something from there. Not only this, but she could feel a dark, eerie presence around her. Basically, this house was obviously haunted. With a flashback of the past, we also find out that Mai had heard about this place before, cause one of her seniors, Naomi, had stayed in this place once, but she returned terrified after just 3 days, and Naomi even refused to talk about what happened. Anyway, during the day, everything seems fine, but at night, Mai started hearing a high-pitched noise, and when she woke up, she experienced sleep paralysis. That's when she finally sees the ghost, a terrifying woman staring right at her. And when then Mai finally wakes up, she disappeared, but still Mai was feeling her presence around her constantly. The next day, she tried to talk to the landlady about it, but she couldn't because the restaurant was too busy. Now once again at night, we see the ghost passing by her room, which wakes Mai up. Suddenly, the lights went out and she froze again in sleep paralysis, and the ghost appeared in front of her, saying over and over, "It hurts, it hurts." It was clear someone had died horribly in this house. Then suddenly the ghost whispered in her ear,
一緒に来て
"I'll take you with me." And then she started strangling her, but somehow Mai managed to escape and survive the night. The next day, she messaged Naomi, who told her that the same thing happened to her as well, and every haunting started when Naomi removed the protection charms from around the house, and that's why there were weird marks on the wall all around the place. Obviously, Mai makes a good decision. She packed up her thing and left the house for good, and she never came back. And that's where this terrifying true story ends as well. So, this was the recap video on Hontoniata Kowai Hanashi. If you like this deep dive into Hontoniata Kowai Hanashi, hit that like button and share this video with your horror friends. It helps the channel a ton. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss my next recap video. Follow me on Instagram if you want to talk to me personally. And join my Telegram channel for exclusive horror drops or community chats. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are what keeps demonic archives alive. See you in the next one. Stay curious, stay scared, stay safe, stay happy, and stay alert because they always see you.